Whenever we were linking documents earlier to these different empty slots, I said there were a couple exceptions where the title of the slot is going to be different than the title of the document that you're wanting to drop in that spot. Those exceptions were the bumper and the sermon video. It's set up this way because in Planning Center for the worship team and the other teams, they need to be able to plan the bumper is here, the sermon video is here. But in our case, we actually need that to be in a little bit of a different order. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Command F and I'm going to type in sermon video. So here's the sermon video. I'm going to drag and drop it, but I'm not going to put it where it says sermon video. I'm actually going to put it where it says bumper. This is because we want to have the sermon video first, and then later we're going to put the sermon slides down below. So the other thing you'll notice is this says 2021-0101. It's January 1st. That was last week's sermon, not this coming week's sermon. Whenever you build this will always have last week's sermon in it, and depending on when you're building it, this coming week's sermon may not have even been recorded yet. In my case, there is no sermon for January 10th. So this is just going to be a placeholder for now, and whenever next week's sermon does get recorded and uploaded, it's going to automatically download into Media here in the top right corner, and then if we go down to the Sermon Backup folder, it'll show up here right next to this one, and it's actually going to have Friday's date on it. January 1st was a Friday, and so this one's probably going to be labeled January 8th, and that's just because it's recorded on a Friday, even though we play it back on a Sunday. And so you're typically looking for Friday's date, not Sunday's date. So it's not here yet, but if it were, I would just take it and drag and drop on the top, and that's all we need to do. I'll close the media bin again. And then if you recall from the first section, a very, very, very important step that we need to remember is this output target here. So I'm going to click on that. It says presentation. I want it to be announcements because the sermon is going to play on the projector screen on the sermon output, not on the lyrics output. If I hadn't selected that, it would be going to the lyrics output. So you'll see a couple other slides here. This is just how we have it set up in Indiana. You don't really need to worry if yours looks different. This one is just the sermon lights. So we do that whenever they're praying for the sermon, so the lights go down for the bumper, and then we go into the sermon video itself. And then we have a timer on this so that whenever the sermon video is over, it automatically goes to the next slide, clears the screens, brings up the lights. Your sermon video may look like just this slide and this slide, and that's okay. It's a little bit different at every campus, but you get the idea. Where it says sermon video is where we're going to put the sermon slides. So you can import the sermon slides by opening up Finder, and then we'll go to Google Drive and go to the ProPresenter folder and the sermon slides folder. So the sermon slides for this coming week haven't been created yet. We just have January 3rd, which was last week. But just so you guys can see how this works, all I'm going to do is double click on this, and it's going to import it. You'll probably get this file already exists warning, specifically for the background on the first slide. Since we keep that there every week, this error comes up. It's nothing to worry about. You can hit right over, and it'll import it just fine. So you'll see, though, that when it does import it, it takes you all the way back to the Indiana library with all this on this side. And if you scroll up or down here, you can't see anything else. So to get back, click on January 10th. Go down. I'm going to click on sermon video right here where we want to link it. And it's going to bring that up. Now I can hit Command F to search. And then I'm just going to type in the date. So looks like this one has the wrong year on it, but I at least know which one it is. And then drag and drop. There it is. So obviously this is last week's sermon. I don't actually want this here. I'm going to hit unlink to remove it. You can always do that. If you put the wrong thing there, you can hit unlink and it'll get rid of it. And then you can put something else there that you actually meant to be there. So for this, I'm just going to wait until Sunday morning. The sermon slides will automatically download. The sermon video will download. I have everything set up and ready to go so that whenever that does happen, I just have to import it and all the settings are right. It's going to go to the right screen. The lights are going to be right, and I don't have to worry about any of that.